Before we dive in, a quick but critical note. I am not a lawyer, and the information in this video does not constitute legal advice. This presentation is for informational and educational purposes only. Every legal situation is unique, and you should always consult with a qualified, licensed attorney for advice regarding your individual circumstances. The world of AI and law is changing rapidly, and using any tool, digital or otherwise, carries inherent risks. Our goal here is to help you understand those risks, not to replace professional legal counsel. A woman named Jessica got a speeding ticket. It was one of those frustrating ones. The speed limit dropped suddenly, the sign was partially obscured by a tree, and she was clocked going just 8 miles over. The fine? A painful $300, plus points on her license that would send her insurance rates through the roof. For a single mom working 2 jobs, that wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a potential financial crisis. She heard about an app, one that called itself the world's first robot lawyer. For a subscription of $36 a year, it promised to fight her ticket for her. Skeptical but desperate, she downloaded it, uploaded a photo of the ticket, and answered a few questions in a chatbot. Less than 5 minutes later, the app generated a detailed, formal letter of appeal, citing local statutes and precedents she'd never heard of. It even found a loophole based on the calibration records for the specific radar gun used. She printed it, mailed it in, and a few weeks later she got a letter from the court. Ticket dismissed. Total cost, $3 a month. This story, or a version of it, is the incredible promise of AI lawyer apps. It's the story that venture capitalists are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into. It's the dream of putting justice in your pocket, of leveling the playing field between you and the massive, confusing, and outrageously expensive legal system. For decades, if you had a problem, a landlord illegally withholding your security deposit, a massive corporation hitting you with unfair fees, or even just needing a simple will drawn up, you had 2 choices. Pay a lawyer hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, or give up. The law was a walled garden, and the price of entry was astronomical. But now that wall is starting to crumble. Companies with names like DoNotPay, LegalZoom, and Rocket Lawyer are using artificial intelligence to automate tasks that used to take a human lawyer hours. They can draft contracts, file consumer complaints, contest parking tickets, and even help you sue someone in small claims court. The promise is seductive. Why pay a lawyer $350 an hour to write a cease and desist letter when an AI can draft a legally sound one for you in 60 seconds for free? The system they claim is broken, and they are here to fix it with code. But here's the part of Jessica's story the app's marketing department doesn't tell you. What if the AI had made a mistake? What if it cited the wrong statute for her state, or missed a critical filing deadline by 1 day? In the case of a speeding ticket, the worst that could happen is she'd have to pay the original fine. But what if she had used that same app to draft a lease agreement for a rental property, and it left out a crucial clause protecting her from liability? What if she used it to form an LLC for her new small business, but the AI filed the paperwork incorrectly, leaving her personally exposed to a lawsuit that could wipe out her life savings? Suddenly, the stakes are much, much higher. And this is the central critical question we are going to tackle today. Can these AI lawyer apps really help you? Or are they a digital minefield? A dangerous shortcut that promises savings but delivers disaster? This isn't just a tech review. This is a guide to protecting yourself in a new and unregulated frontier. Over the next few minutes, we are going to break down exactly what these apps can and absolutely cannot do. We'll explore the massive, undeniable pros that are changing lives for the better. And we will stare directly into the abyss of the cons, the terrifying risks that could leave you legally and financially ruined. By the end of this video, you will have a clear framework for deciding when to use one of these powerful new tools, and when using one would be the biggest mistake of your life. We're going to give you the 3 critical questions you must ask before you ever let an algorithm handle your legal problems. So let's start with the most powerful argument in favor of these apps, the reason they exist in the first place: the staggering, almost criminal cost of the traditional legal system in the United States. Let's be honest, the phrase affordable lawyer sounds like a punchline to a bad joke. The average hourly rate for an attorney in the US hovers around $300 an hour. In major cities like New York or Los Angeles, that can easily jump to $500 or $600 an hour, or even more for a specialized partner. Think about that. For the price of 1 hour of a lawyer's time, you could buy a new smartphone. For the price of a simple contract dispute, you could take a family vacation. This creates what legal experts call the justice gap. It's the massive chasm between the legal needs of everyday Americans and their ability to pay for help. A study by the Legal Services Corporation found that low-income Americans do not get any or enough professional legal help for a staggering 92% of their civil legal problems. This isn't just about fighting speeding tickets. This is about eviction notices, debt collection harassment, appealing for disability benefits, and seeking restraining orders in domestic violence cases. These are life-altering problems. And for millions of people, the system essentially says, if you can't afford the ticket, you don't get to ride the ride. You might have a rock-solid case against your landlord who stole your security deposit, but if the deposit was $1,000 and the lawyer wants a $2,000 retainer just to get started, what do? You walk away. You let them win. The system isn't just for the rich, but it's priced as if it were. This is the fundamental problem that AI legal tech is trying to solve. It looks at this massive justice gap and says, we can fill that. Instead of a $2,000 retainer, they offer a $15 monthly subscription. Instead of an intimidating office visit, they offer a simple, user-friendly interface you can access from your couch at midnight. They are taking legal tools that were once exclusively available to the wealthy and putting them into the hands of 100 million people who were previously locked out. This isn't just a convenience. For many, it's the first time they've ever had any access to legal help at all. It's a powerful, democratizing force, and its potential to do good is immense. The ability to generate a legally valid document, like a power of attorney or a last will and testament, for a fraction of the traditional cost, is nothing short of revolutionary. For routine, standardized tasks, the value is undeniable. And that brings us to the second massive pro: speed and accessibility. Let's map out the traditional process. First, you have to realize you have a legal problem. Then you have to find a lawyer. You might ask friends for referrals, or you might turn to Google, scrolling through dozens of websites trying to figure out who is reputable and who is just good at marketing. You have to check their specialty. A great divorce lawyer is probably the wrong person to handle a business contract. Then you have to schedule a consultation, which might take days or even weeks to get on the calendar. You might have to take time off work to go to their office. In that first meeting, you'll spend an hour explaining your situation, only to find out if they're even willing to take your case, and if you can afford their fees. The entire process is slow, intimidating, and filled with friction. Now, compare that to the AI process. You have a problem. You pull out your phone. You open an app. A chatbot asks you a series of simple, plain English questions. What state do you live in? What is the name of the person you want to send this letter to? Briefly describe the issue. You tap through the questions. 5 minutes later, a fully formed, professionally formatted document is sitting in your inbox, ready to be sent. The difference is night and day. It's the difference between hailing a cab on a rainy street corner and tapping a button on the Uber app. It's instant, it's on demand, and it removes all of the traditional barriers. This accessibility is a game changer, especially for smaller, time-sensitive issues. Need to send a formal demand letter to a company that won't refund your money for a defective product? You can have it done before your coffee gets cold. This speed allows you to be proactive, to solve small problems before they become big, expensive ones. It empowers you to assert your rights in situations where, previously, the sheer hassle and cost of hiring a lawyer would have forced you to just let it go. Think about that leaky faucet your landlord promised to fix 6 months ago. Or the freelance client who's ghosting you on a 4-figure invoice. Or that confusing employment contract your new boss wants you to sign by tomorrow. These are the death by 1,000 paper cuts moments of modern life. They're not big enough to justify dropping $5,000 on a legal retainer, but they're big enough to cause real stress and financial harm. This is the gap where AI legal tools are stepping in, not as a replacement for a high-powered attorney in a courtroom drama, but as a first line of defense. A legal multi-tool for life's everyday injustices. Let's get concrete. Imagine you're Sarah, a freelance web developer. She just finished a major project for a small company. She delivered on time, the client was thrilled, but now radio silence. The 30-day payment window has turned into 90 days. Emails go unanswered. Calls go to voicemail. Sarah's getting desperate. The rent is due. In the old world, what are her options? She could keep sending polite, increasingly desperate emails. She could spend hours on Google, trying to figure out how to write a scary-sounding letter, likely getting lost in a sea of conflicting advice from different states. Or she could call a lawyer, who would charge her a $200 consultation fee just to tell her that suing for the $3,000 invoice might cost her more in legal fees than she'd ever recover. So, like most people, she'd probably consider writing it off as a loss, a painful cost of doing business. But in this new world, Sarah pulls out her phone. She opens an AI lawyer app. She uploads her original contract in the chain of emails. She types in a simple prompt. My client hasn't paid their $3,000 invoice, which is 60 days overdue. My contract specifies payment within 30 days. What are my options in the state of California? And right here we see the first revolutionary advantage: speed. We are not talking about days. We're not even talking about hours. We're talking about seconds. In the time it takes to brew a cup of coffee, the AI has not only analyzed her contract, it has cross-referenced it with California's specific laws regarding freelance worker protections. It confirms the breach of contract. It explains the concept of a demand letter in simple, clear English. There's no waiting for a paralegal to call you back. There's no scheduling a consultation for next Tuesday. It's instant. This 24/7 on-demand access is a paradigm shift. Your legal problem doesn't care that it's 2 a.m. on a Sunday, and now your first source of help doesn't either. It's a legal co-pilot, ready the moment you are. But it gets better. The app doesn't just tell Sarah what a demand letter is. It offers to write one for her. This is the second massive pro. Document generation and analysis. This is where the AI goes from being a fancy search engine to an active tool. The app generates a draft. It's not a generic template copied from a random website. It's a customized document that specifically references Section 4B of her contract. It cites the relevant California Civil Code section that imposes penalties on clients who willfully fail to pay freelancers on time. It includes formal, intimidating but correct legal language about remedies and intent to pursue further legal action. All Sarah has to do is review it, fill in a few details, and hit send. Think about the power of this. How many of us have been faced with a dense 50-page document full of legalese, a lease agreement and insurance policy terms of service? It's a wall of text designed to be unreadable. You scroll to the bottom and click I agree, praying you didn't just sign away your firstborn child. An AI tool can ingest that entire document in seconds. It can summarize the key points. It can flag non-standard or predatory clauses. It can translate the jargon into plain English. This clause means your landlord can increase your rent with only 15 days' notice, which is illegal in your state. Or, this part of your employment agreement means you have a non-compete that would prevent you from working for any competitor in the entire country for 2 years. This isn't just convenience. It's a shield. It allows you to understand what you're actually agreeing to before it becomes a problem. This brings us to the third major benefit, the demystification of the law. For centuries, the law has been a gated community, and the gatekeepers spoke a different language. Herein, heretofore, residential ipsa loquitur. This complexity creates a power imbalance. If you don't understand the language, you can't participate fully, and you're forced to pay someone who does. AI acts as a universal translator. It takes these arcane concepts and breaks them down. It can explain the difference between without prejudice and with prejudice using a simple analogy. It can explain what statute of limitations means for your specific case and calculate the exact deadline you have to file a claim. This educational component is profoundly empowering. It's not just solving your immediate problem, it's teaching you the rules of the game. It transforms the law from an intimidating fortress into a system with rules that you, too, can understand and use. For our freelancer Sarah, the AI-generated demand letter works. The client, who was ignoring her polite emails, suddenly snaps to attention when they receive a formal letter that quotes contract clauses and state law. It looks professional. It looks serious. It looks like Sarah has a lawyer. Within 48 hours, the money is in her account. She didn't have to beg. She didn't have to pay a lawyer a third of her invoice. She just had to leverage the right tool. She asserted her rights effectively and efficiently. And that points to the fourth and perhaps most powerful pro: leveling the playing field. The reason large corporations and wealthy individuals often win disputes isn't always because they're in the right. It's because they have resources. They have teams of lawyers and paralegals who can spend hundreds of hours on legal research, digging through case law and statutes to find the perfect argument. They can afford to out-research and outspend the little guy. AI fundamentally disrupts this dynamic. An AI can perform legal research that would have taken a team of humans weeks to complete, and it can do it in minutes. It can analyze thousands of relevant court cases to see how judges have ruled on similar issues in the past. It can identify patterns and precedents that a human might miss. It gives the individual access to a level of analytical firepower that was previously reserved for the top-floor corner offices. Suddenly, it's not just your word against a giant corporation's legal department. It's your word, backed by a supercomputer that has analyzed every relevant piece of law and case history in the blink of an eye. So you have speed. You have powerful document creation and analysis. You have the demystification of complex legal language. And you have the ability to level the playing field through hyper-efficient research. It all sounds incredible, doesn't it? A legal revolution in your pocket, a democratic force for justice, a tool to empower the powerless. And in many ways it is. But this is the point in the story where the music changes. Because for every success story like Sarah's, there is a hidden trap, a potential catastrophe lurking beneath the surface of that slick, user-friendly interface. The technology is so powerful and so convincing that it's easy to forget what it actually is, and what it isn't, and what these apps don't tell you. What's buried deep in the terms of service you scrolled past is the critical, glaring weakness that can turn your legal remedy into a legal nightmare. Because what happens when the AI is confidently, plausibly, and completely wrong? It's a scenario that played out, not in a sci-fi movie, but in a very real New York federal courtroom. And it serves as the single greatest warning for anyone tempted to outsource their legal thinking to an algorithm. Meet Stephen Schwartz, a seasoned lawyer with over 30 years of experience. He was representing a client, Roberto Mata, who was suing the airline Avianca, claiming he was injured by a metal serving cart during a flight. To win a case like this, you need to prove your argument using precedent, that is, citing previous similar cases where judges ruled in your favor. This is the bedrock of the American legal system. It's also incredibly tedious work, involving hours, sometimes days, spent digging through dense legal databases. So, Schwartz did what millions of people are now doing every day. He turned to a new, powerful assistant for help, ChatGPT. He asked the AI to find legal precedents that would support his client's case. And like a miracle, ChatGPT delivered. Not just one or two cases, but a whole list of them. Cases like Verghese v. China Southern Airlines, Shaboon v. Egypt Air, and Martinez v. Delta Airlines. They looked perfect. They had official-looking docket numbers, detailed summaries of the judicial reasoning, and quotes that seemed tailor-made for his argument. For Schwartz, this must have felt like a revolution. A legal cheat code. All that time and drudgery just gone. He compiled these AI-found cases into a formal legal brief and submitted it to the court, a document of 10 pages citing more than half a dozen of these prior decisions. The problem began when Avianca's lawyers, the opposing side, responded. Their filing was short and deeply confusing. They stated very simply that they couldn't find a single one of the cases Schwartz had cited. Not one. The judge, understandably perplexed, also tried to find them. He couldn't. The court's own electronic database, the most comprehensive repository of legal decisions in the country, had no record of them. The judge ordered Schwartz to provide copies of the decisions he had referenced. This is where the story goes from a simple mistake to a technological horror show. Schwartz, now likely feeling a knot of dread tightening in his stomach, went back to his assistant. He asked ChatGPT, "Are these cases real?" The AI didn't just say yes. It responded with a level of confident reassurance that is frankly terrifying. It insisted the cases were real, and could be found in premier legal databases like LexisNexis and Westlaw. When Schwartz pressed, asking for excerpts from the cases, ChatGPT generated them out of thin air, complete with intricate legal analysis and direct quotes from non-existent judges. It was lying. Or more accurately, it was doing what it was designed to do, generating plausible-sounding text based on patterns, with no concept of truth or falsehood. Armed with these false reassurances, Schwartz went back to the court and in a sworn affidavit, stood by his research, calling the possibility that the cases were fake unprecedented. He was right about that, at least, because in the end the truth came out. Every single case was a fabrication, an AI hallucination. Verghese v. China Southern Airlines never happened. Judge Martin Carlson, the supposed author of one of the opinions, was a real judge, but he had never presided over that case. The entire legal foundation of his client's argument was built on sand. The fallout was catastrophic. Schwartz and his colleague were sanctioned by the court, fined $5,000, and forced to notify the actual judges whose names had been falsely attached to the fabricated opinions. Their professional reputations were shattered in a public and deeply embarrassing spectacle. Now it's easy to sit back and criticize a lawyer for making such a fundamental error. But his mistake reveals a profound and dangerous misunderstanding of what these AI tools actually are. And if a lawyer with decades of training can be so thoroughly fooled, what does that mean for you when you're using an app to fight a parking ticket? Here's the critical piece of information you need to understand. An AI like the one powering these apps is not a superpowered Google. It is not a database. It is not looking up information. It is a large language model, and a better name for it would be a universal plausibility engine. It has been trained on a colossal amount of text from the internet. Everything from Wikipedia articles and news reports to poetry and Reddit comments. From this, it has learned the statistical relationships between words. It knows that the word baking is often followed by a cake, and that the phrase in a court of is very likely to be followed by law. It's an incredibly sophisticated version of the autocomplete on your phone. Its one and only goal is to generate the next most probable word in a sequence to create a response that sounds correct and human-like. It has no concept of truth. It has no knowledge base to check facts against. It only knows patterns. So when you ask it for legal precedents, it doesn't search a legal library. It thinks, okay, what does a legal precedent look like? It knows it has a plaintiff's name, a defendant's name, a docket number, and some formal-sounding language. So, it generates text that fits that pattern perfectly. It creates a ghost case that looks and feels real, but has no substance. This phenomenon is what the industry calls hallucination, and it is the single most dangerous flaw in these systems when applied to a field like law, which demands absolute factual accuracy. Let's bring this down to your level. You're in a dispute with your landlord over a security deposit. You use an AI lawyer app to draft a demand letter. The AI, wanting to sound authoritative, writes a brilliant letter. It says, pursuant to the California Civil Code Section 1950.5, a landlord is required to return a security deposit within 21 days. Furthermore, in the landmark county court case of Johnson v. Aspen Properties, it was established that normal wear and tear cannot be deducted. That sounds amazing. Sounds official. You feel empowered. You fire off the letter. But what if California Civil Code 1950.5 says something slightly different, or an updated statute has changed the rules? Worse, what if the case of Johnson v. Aspen Properties is a complete hallucination? A ghost, just like the airline cases. Your landlord or their lawyer does a quick search. They find the error. In an instant, your credibility is destroyed. You're no longer a tenant who knows their rights. You're a fool who's been caught bluffing. Any leverage you had is gone. You've not only failed to solve your problem, you've handed your opponent a weapon to use against you. Your perfectly crafted AI-generated argument, which felt like a shield, has just become a self-inflicted wound. This is the core of the problem. The law is a system built on a foundation of verifiable truth. Precedents must be real. Statutes must be cited correctly. Facts must be accurate. The entire structure of justice depends on it. AI language models, in their current form, are built on a foundation of statistical probability. They are designed to be plausible, not truthful. And when you try to build a legal argument on a foundation of plausibility, the entire structure is at risk of collapsing the moment someone pushes on it. The confident, articulate, and helpful AI assistant can become your worst enemy, leading you confidently and plausibly right off a legal cliff. But this issue of factual unreliability, as massive as it is only the first layer of the problem. Because even when the AI is working with real information, a more subtle and perhaps more dangerous flaw comes into play. A flaw that isn't about what the AI says but about the very data it was trained on. This hidden flaw is the ghost in the machine. It's called algorithmic bias. And it's not a bug or a glitch. It's a feature of how these systems are built. An AI doesn't learn about the law from a perfect, idealized textbook of justice. It learns from us. It learns from the real world. It scours and ingests an unimaginable amount of data. Decades of court filings, judicial opinions, case law, legal articles, and settlement agreements. And in doing so, it doesn't just learn the letter of the law. It learns all of our human baggage that comes with it. It learns our history. The American legal system, for all its noble ideals, is a human institution, and its history is riddled with systemic biases. For centuries, the law was written and interpreted in ways that explicitly disadvantaged people based on their race, gender, and economic status. And even after those laws were changed, their echoes, their precedents, and the societal biases that created them remain embedded in the vast trove of legal data that we are now feeding to these AIs. The AI, in its quest to find patterns, sees that for decades, a person from a certain zip code or with a certain skin color received a harsher sentence for the exact same crime as someone else. The AI doesn't understand the historical injustice of redlining or the racial bias in drug sentencing. It doesn't see the context, just sees a pattern, a strong statistically significant correlation. So, when you ask it for an analysis of a potential plea bargain, its risk calculation might be subtly, invisibly skewed by that biased historical data. It might advise a person of color to accept a plea deal that a human lawyer aware of this history would fight tooth and nail, because the AI's data-driven logic concludes that people who look like them tend to get worse outcomes at trial. It's not being malicious, it's just reflecting the ugly patterns it was taught. Think about landlord-tenant law. For most of modern history, the legal playing field was heavily tilted in favor of property owners. Tenants, especially those with low incomes, rarely had the resources for effective legal representation. The result? A mountain of case law and legal documents where the landlord almost always wins. An AI trained on this data might generate a response to an eviction notice that, while technically correct, is weak and deferential. It might fail to identify newer, more aggressive tenant protection arguments because those arguments are underrepresented in the historical data set. It learns from the past, and in this area of law, the past was a story of imbalance. The AI inadvertently perpetuates that imbalance, dressing it up in the language of neutral, helpful advice. Or consider family law. The AI might analyze thousands of historical divorce cases to provide guidance on spousal support. But in doing so, it's also analyzing decades of cases that were decided when societal roles were completely different, when women were systematically disadvantaged in the workforce. The AI might pick up on outdated patterns about alimony or child custody that are no longer appropriate or fair, but which persist as statistical ghosts in the data. It might generate language for a prenuptial agreement that reflects these old power dynamics, because that's the pattern it learned from the majority of its training examples. This is the core of the danger. It's one thing for a human lawyer to have a personal bias. We can question them, they can be trained to recognize it, and the legal system has checks and balances like opposing counsel to challenge it. But when the bias is baked into the very code of a tool that presents itself as an objective, all-knowing oracle, it becomes almost impossible to see, let alone fight. It's a process some critics call bias laundering. We take our messy, biased human history, feed it into a complex algorithm, and the output comes back looking clean, mathematical, and authoritative. It gives the illusion of objective, data-driven truth to a conclusion that is fundamentally rooted in past injustice. And because these are black box systems, we often can't even audit them properly. We can't ask the AI, "Hey, did you suggest this legal strategy because of the merits of my case? Or because my last name is more common in a historically marginalized community?" The reasoning is buried under layers of complex neural networks and petabytes of data. The user, the person desperately seeking help, has no way of knowing that the advice they just received, advice that could determine whether they lose their home, their kids, or their freedom, was tainted before they even finished typing their question. They are putting their faith in a system whose fundamental assumptions are invisible, and whose judgment is shaped by the very societal problems they might be trying to escape. So the AI becomes a high-tech mirror, reflecting the legal world as it has been, not as it ought to be. It can be a powerful tool for understanding the status quo, for seeing the patterns of the past. But it is a deeply flawed tool for charting a path to a more just future. It reinforces precedent. It strengthens the well-trodden path. But justice, true justice, often requires us to break from precedent, to forge a new path, to argue that the way things have always been done is no longer the way they should be. And that is a fundamentally human act of rebellion that an AI, trained on the past, is simply not designed to perform. This problem of bias of the AI reflecting a flawed history is profound. But it focuses on the AI's output, the information it gives you. What we haven't discussed is the process. The law isn't just a collection of facts and precedents. It's a human drama. It's about negotiation, persuasion, psychology, and empathy. And this reveals an even deeper chasm between what an AI can do and what justice actually requires. Because even if you could create a perfectly unbiased AI, it would still fail at a task that is essential to the law: understanding people. The legal system is, at its core, a conflict resolution system for messy, emotional, unpredictable human beings. And what happens when you try to plug a cold, logical machine into the heart of that chaotic human process? The result isn't just ineffective, it fundamentally misunderstands what the law is even for. To illustrate this, let's leave the world of corporate law and multi-million-dollar lawsuits for a second. Let's talk about something much more common, something that could happen to any of us. Let's talk about a fence. Imagine a woman named Sarah. She lives in a quiet suburban neighborhood. She gets along with most of her neighbors, but there's one, an elderly man named Mr. Henderson, who's a bit prickly. One day, Sarah decides to do some landscaping and gets a property survey. The survey reveals that the old, rickety fence separating her property from Mr. Henderson's is actually 18 inches on her side of the line. For years, he's been using 18 inches of her land as his own. It's not a huge amount of land, but it's the principle of the thing. Plus, the fence is an eyesore, and she wants to replace it, but on the correct property line. So Sarah, being tech-savvy, downloads a popular AI lawyer app. She inputs the facts. My neighbor's fence is on my property. I have a certified survey to prove it. I want the fence moved. The AI gets to work. It scans local property ordinances, precedents for encroachment, and the state's property laws. Within 60 seconds, it generates a perfect, legally sound demand letter. The letter is a work of art, from a purely legal perspective. It cites the specific municipal code regarding property lines. It references the survey by its official number. It gives Mr. Henderson a firm deadline, 30 days, to remove the offending structure. And it warns that failure to comply will result in legal action to reclaim rightful property and seek damages for the period of unlawful occupation. It's efficient, it's intimidating, and it's legally flawless. Sarah feels empowered. She prints it, puts it in an envelope, and leaves it in Mr. Henderson's mailbox. And in that moment, she has just nuked her relationship with her neighbor and kicked off a miserable, expensive, and emotionally draining feud that could last for years. What did the AI miss? It didn't miss a single legal statute. It didn't miss a single fact Sarah gave it. What it missed was everything that actually mattered. It missed the humanity. Now let's rewind. Imagine Sarah instead takes her problem to a human lawyer. A real flesh-and-blood attorney in a small local office. The lawyer looks at the survey, listens to the facts, and then asks a question the AI would never think to ask. Tell me about Mr. Henderson. Sarah, a little surprised, explains. She says he's lived in that house for 40 years. His wife, who loved gardening, passed away about a year ago. He's been quiet and withdrawn ever since. The fence? That was the last project he and his wife worked on together years ago. The lawyer leans back in her chair. She understands instantly that this isn't a case about 18 inches of grass. This is a case about a lonely, grieving old man clinging to the last thing he built with his wife. The fence isn't a structure of encroachment, it's a memorial. Sending that cold, threatening legal letter would be like taking a sledgehammer to a tombstone. It would be seen as a cruel, personal attack, and Mr. Henderson would fight back with every ounce of his energy, not to save the land, but to protect his wife's memory. The human lawyer advises a completely different strategy. She tells Sarah to tear up the demand letter. Instead, she says, this weekend bake a pie. Or a batch of cookies. Walk over there, knock on his door, and don't mention the fence at first. Ask him how he's doing. Say you were thinking about him. Then gently bring up the landscaping you're planning. Say you'd love his advice on flowers because you always admired his wife's garden. And then, and only then, mention that you're thinking of putting up a new fence and saw on the survey that the old one was a little off. Frame it as a shared problem. How can we solve this? Not, you need to fix this. Sarah does exactly that. The conversation is awkward at first, but Mr. Henderson is touched. He talks about his wife. He talks about the garden. When the fence comes up, he's not defensive. He's collaborative. He admits they probably eyeballed it when they built it. They end up agreeing to take the old fence down together and build a new one on the correct line. Sarah even offers to help him plant a new rose bush in memory of his wife right next to it. The outcome? Sarah gets her 18 inches back. She gets a new fence on the proper line. But she also gets something infinitely more valuable. A peaceful neighborhood, a restored relationship, and a neighbor who now looks out for her. The legal problem was solved, but more importantly, the human problem was solved. The cost? A few hours and the price of flour and sugar. The AI-generated solution would have cost thousands in legal fees, and a priceless amount of stress and animosity. This story highlights the fundamental flaw in relying on AI for matters that involve human interaction. The law is not just a coding language where you input facts and output a correct legal move. It's a deeply human institution designed to manage deeply human conflicts. A great lawyer isn't just a walking encyclopedia of statutes. They are a psychologist, a negotiator, a strategist, and a counselor. They read body language. They sense unspoken fears and motivations. They understand that what a client says they want, "I want that fence moved," isn't always what they actually need. "I want to feel respected and have peace with my neighbors." The AI operates on a principle of garbage in, garbage out. But in law, the problem is more subtle. It's incomplete information in, catastrophic advice out. Sarah didn't know to tell the AI that Mr. Henderson was a grieving widower. Why would she? In her mind, that's not a legal fact. It has no bearing on the property survey. But a human lawyer knows it's the single most important fact in the entire case. It's the key that unlocks the entire human dimension of the conflict, the dimension where a real, lasting solution can be found. The AI is blind to this dimension. It sees a world of property lines, contracts, and statutes. It does not see the world of lonely old men, grieving widows, and the fragile unwritten social contracts that hold our communities together. This isn't just about neighborly disputes. Think about a divorce negotiation. An AI might advise you to fight for every last asset, based on a cold calculation of legal entitlement. A human lawyer might see that what you really need is a clean break, a cooperative co-parenting relationship, and a future free from constant court battles, and advise you to concede on a financial point to achieve that long-term peace. Think about a business contract dispute. An AI might draft a letter that wins you the argument but torches a valuable, decade-long business relationship. A human lawyer would look for a face-saving compromise that preserves the partnership. The AI is programmed to win the battle. A good human lawyer knows that sometimes winning the battle means losing the war. This is the fundamental flaw in thinking of AI as a replacement for a lawyer, rather than a tool. The AI doesn't understand the messy, beautiful, complicated tapestry of human relationships that underpins so much of our legal and business world. It sees only the data points, the clauses, the statutes. It's a hyper-intelligent calculator for legal problems, but it has no wisdom. It can't tell you when to fight and when to fold, when to push and when to compromise. It's playing chess while the human lawyer is playing poker, reading the other players, bluffing, and understanding that the game is about more than just the pieces on the board. This leads us to one of the most dangerous pitfalls of relying on these apps: the principle of garbage in, garbage out. In the world of computing, this is a sacred rule. It means the quality of the output is determined entirely by the quality of the input. If you feed a computer bad data, you will get a bad result no matter how powerful the computer is. And when it comes to law, most of us, without realizing it, are providers of very, very bad data. Let me tell you a story about a woman named Chloe. Chloe was moving out of her apartment in Austin, Texas. She'd been a model tenant for 3 years, always paid rent on time, and left the place spotless. Her landlord, however, was notorious for nickel-and-diming tenants out of their security deposits. Sure enough, a month after she moved out, she got a letter with a check for just $75 of her original $2,000 deposit. The letter included a vague, itemized list of damages, things like excessive wall scuffs, carpet deep cleaning, and a general painting fee. Chloe was furious. She knew these charges were bogus. The scuffs were normal wear and tear. The lease said nothing about a mandatory painting fee. She felt cheated. A friend told her about a popular AI lawyer app that could draft legal letters. Perfect, she thought. Why pay a lawyer hundreds of dollars just to write a letter? She downloaded the app, paid the $20 fee, and started inputting her information. The app prompted her with questions. What is the amount of the dispute? What were the dates of your tenancy? Summarize the landlord's claims. Chloe answered everything as best she could. She wrote, "Landlord is unfairly charging for normal wear and tear, like small scuffs on the walls from where furniture was." Then the app asked a crucial question. Does your lease contain any specific clauses regarding painting or cleaning upon move out? Chloe scanned her lease. She saw a dense paragraph titled, Tenant Responsibilities. Buried in the middle of it was a sentence. Tenant agrees to be responsible for all professional cleaning costs and any necessary repainting to return the unit to its original condition, normal wear and tear accepted. To Chloe, a layperson, this sounded like boilerplate. She thought, well, I left it clean, and the scuffs are normal wear and tear, so this doesn't apply. In the app, she summarized this by typing, lease mentions tenant is responsible for cleaning and painting, but not for normal wear and tear. The AI took her input as absolute fact. It didn't ask to see the lease itself. It didn't ask for photos of the apartment. It didn't ask if she had a move-in checklist documenting the original condition. It took her summary, processed it through its algorithm, and in 60 seconds, produced a masterpiece of a demand letter. It was sharp, professional, and cited Texas property code. It demanded the immediate return of her full deposit, threatening small claims court and statutory penalties for bad faith withholding. Chloe was thrilled. She printed it, signed it, and sent it off by certified mail, feeling powerful and vindicated. A week later, she got a response. Not from the landlord, but from the landlord's attorney. The letter was short and brutal. It included a copy of the very demand letter she had sent. Her own words, generated by the AI, were highlighted in yellow. Lease mentions tenant is responsible for cleaning and painting. The attorney's letter stated that by her own admission, she had acknowledged this contractual obligation. It then pointed out that the landlord is the sole arbiter of what constitutes necessary repainting and professional cleaning. The letter concluded by saying that her demand was baseless, and if she pursued the matter in court, they would countersue for their legal fees, citing a prevailing party clause in the lease that Chloe hadn't even noticed. Chloe's heart sank. In an instant, her ironclad case had evaporated. What went wrong? The AI did exactly what it was told. The garbage she fed it wasn't a lie. It was an incomplete, decontextualized truth. A human lawyer would have started by saying, "Don't tell me what the lease says. Send me the lease. Let me read it myself." That lawyer would have immediately spotted the ambiguity in the phrase, necessary repainting, and the danger of the prevailing party clause. They would have asked Chloe, "Did you take pictures when you moved in? Did you take pictures when you moved out? Do you have any emails or texts with the landlord about the condition of the apartment?" The human lawyer's job isn't just to process the facts you give them. It's to investigate and discover the facts that you don't even know are important. You don't know that a single vague sentence in a 10-page lease can be a legal landmine. You don't know that a casual text message from 2 years ago could be the key piece of evidence that wins your case. You don't know what you don't know. The AI doesn't know either. It can't ask the unasked questions. It can't read your body language as you nervously summarize a contract, sensing that you might be unsure about something. Chloe's mistake gave the landlord's attorney all the ammunition they needed. Her AI-generated letter, which she thought was her shield, became their primary weapon. She had accidentally made a legal admission against her own interest. This is the terrifying risk of garbage in, garbage out. You become your own untrained, unqualified paralegal, gathering evidence and facts for a machine that implicitly trusts you. The AI gives you a false sense of security. It hands you a document that looks and sounds official, convincing you that you're on solid ground. In reality, you could be standing on a trapdoor, built from your own innocent omissions and misunderstandings. This problem goes even deeper. What happens when you can't even understand the AI's reasoning? With a human lawyer, you can engage in a dialogue. You can ask, "Why are you recommending this strategy? What's the case law you're basing this on? What are the risks?" You can challenge them, question them, and understand the logic behind their advice. But with many AI systems, their decision-making process is a complete black box. The AI takes in your data, performs trillions of calculations in a way that even its own creators can't fully map, and spits out an answer. It can't explain its reasoning in a way a human can. It can't tell you why it chose to phrase a sentence a certain way, or why it prioritized one legal argument over another. You're asked to simply trust the output of an opaque algorithm with your finances, your business, or even your freedom. And in the legal world, because the computer said so, is not an argument you can take before a judge. You need to be able to defend every single word, every citation, and every strategic choice. When the AI is your counsel and its logic is a mystery, who is really in control of your legal fate? That question of control is where the promise of an AI lawyer begins to truly unravel. Because the law isn't just a collection of statutes and precedents that can be crunched like numbers. It is a deeply, profoundly human endeavor. It's a messy, emotional, and often illogical world where the facts are only half the story. The other half is persuasion. It's about convincing another human being, a judge, a juror, and opposing counsel, of the rightness of your cause. And that is something a machine, no matter how powerful, simply cannot do. Think about what a good lawyer actually does. They don't just find the right case law. They read the room. They watch a jury's body language. They can tell when a witness is starting to crumble under cross-examination, not because of a change in their heart rate, but because of the flicker of doubt in their eyes. A lawyer can sense when a judge is losing patience or when a particular line of argument is making them sympathetic. This is the art of advocacy. It's intuition, it's empathy, it's the ability to connect with another person on a fundamental emotional level. An AI can process 1 trillion words a second, but it can never look a grieving widow in the eye and offer a word of genuine comfort before a tough deposition. It can't share a quiet moment of understanding with a client who is terrified of losing their children. It can't project confidence and calm in a chaotic courtroom, becoming a rock for its client to lean on. Let's take a divorce and custody battle, one of the most emotionally charged areas of law. An AI app might look at the data and produce a technically perfect argument for why you should have custody. It would analyze income levels, school district ratings, proximity to family, and create a logical framework. But it would be sterile. It would be cold. It would miss everything that actually matters. It wouldn't understand the subtle patterns of manipulative behavior from the other spouse. It couldn't capture the unique, unspoken bond you have with your child. A human lawyer hears the story behind the data. They hear the fear in your voice when you talk about your ex-partner's temper. They see the love in your eyes when you show them a picture of your kid's first day of school. And they take that raw, human emotion and weave it into a narrative that a judge can feel. They don't just present facts, they tell a story. And in a courtroom, the better story often wins. When you strip that humanity away, you're left with a soulless calculation. And in a fight for your family, that is a catastrophic disadvantage. But the problem goes even deeper. It's not just about what the AI lacks. It's about the dangerous things it possesses. Let's talk about bias. We like to think of the law as blind, impartial. But we all know that's an ideal, not always a reality. Our legal system, like any human institution, has a long history filled with biases, both conscious and unconscious. Now, how do we train these legal AI models? We feed them data. Massive, colossal datasets of past legal documents, judicial rulings, and case outcomes stretching back decades, if not centuries. The AI's job is to learn the patterns from this data. And what happens when the data itself is biased? The AI doesn't see it as bias. It sees it as a pattern to be replicated. It sees it as the correct way of doing things. If historical data shows that defendants of a certain race or from a particular zip code have consistently received harsher sentences for the same crimes, the AI learns that pattern. It internalizes it. So when you, a person from that zip code, use the app, it might advise you to take a terrible plea deal because its predictive model, based on biased historical data, says you have a very low chance of winning at trial. The AI isn't being malicious. It's just doing what it was told. Find the pattern and apply it. In this way, AI doesn't just fail to solve the problem of systemic bias. It can actively amplify it. It takes our historical prejudices, launders them through a seemingly objective algorithm, and then serves them back to us as impartial, data-driven advice. It's a terrifying feedback loop that could entrench inequality into the bedrock of our legal system on an automated industrial scale. Now let's move from the courtroom to the conference room, where the vast majority of legal disputes are actually resolved: negotiation. This is another area where the AI's purely logical approach can be a spectacular failure. A legal negotiation is not a math problem. It's a high-stakes game of poker. It's about psychology, leverage, and reading your opponent. A skilled lawyer knows that the first offer is rarely about the number itself. It's about sending a message. They know how to build rapport with the opposing counsel, finding common ground to facilitate a deal. They know when to make a strategic concession to build goodwill, and they know when to hold firm and call a bluff. They understand human motivations: pride, fear, greed, exhaustion. They know that the other lawyer has a client to answer to, and maybe a senior partner breathing down their neck. An AI-driven negotiation strategy, on the other hand, would be brutally efficient and utterly tone-deaf. It might calculate the statistically optimal settlement value down to the penny and advise you to make a take-it-or-leave-it offer. In a vacuum, this might seem smart. In the real world, it's a recipe for disaster. That kind of cold, ultimatum-style approach can instantly alienate the other side, making them dig in their heels out of pure spite. It kills any chance of a creative, collaborative solution. The human element, the small talk, the shared understanding, the ability to frame an offer in a way that allows the other side to feel like they've won too, is completely lost. The AI can tell you what the data says you should get, but it has no idea how to actually get it for you from another human being. And finally, we have to talk about the single most sacred principle in the legal profession, the one that makes the entire system possible: confidentiality. Attorney-client privilege is the bedrock promise that you can tell your lawyer anything, no matter how incriminating or embarrassing, and that conversation is protected. It cannot be used against you. It is a sealed vault. What happens when you trade your lawyer's office for a slick app on your phone? You take all of your most sensitive information, details about your business dispute, your marital problems, your potential criminal liability, and you type it into a text box. Where does it go? You might think it's private, but you need to ask yourself, who owns the server? Is it in the United States, subject to US privacy laws? Or is it in a country with far weaker protections? What are the company's data security protocols? Are they truly prepared to defend your data against sophisticated state-sponsored hackers or a simple, disgruntled employee? And here's the most chilling part. When you sign up for that app, you agree to a 100-page terms of service agreement that no one ever reads. Buried in that legalese, you may be giving the company the right to use your anonymized data to train its future AI models. Your unique legal problem, your personal crisis, becomes just another drop of data in their corporate ocean. Furthermore, what happens if the company gets a subpoena from law enforcement? A traditional law firm is structured to fiercely defend attorney-client privilege. Is a tech startup, perhaps more worried about its next round of funding and its relationship with the government, going to fight as hard for you? Your confidential data, consolidated with thousands of other users' data on a single company's servers, becomes an incredibly tempting target for a broad government phishing expedition. The convenience of an app could come at the cost of your most fundamental legal protection, creating a permanent digital record of your vulnerability that you can never take back. So we see a tool that lacks human intuition, that risks amplifying societal bias, that fails at the subtle art of negotiation, and that could shatter the sacred trust of confidentiality. These are not minor bugs to be patched in the next update. They are fundamental structural failures. They expose the chasm between processing information and exercising true judgment. We've seen how these tools can fail you, but what about the other side? What happens when the person you're up against is a skilled human lawyer, and you're armed with nothing but an app? The mismatch is terrifying, and the consequences are very, very real. The mismatch is terrifying, and the consequences are very, very real. Imagine this. You're a small business owner. Let's call you Alex. You've poured your life savings, your sweat, your late nights into building a brilliant little software company. It's finally taking off. But then a letter arrives. It's from a massive, multi-billion-dollar corporation. They claim your logo, the one you sketched on a napkin years ago, infringes on one of their obscure trademarks. They're not just asking you to change it. They're suing you for damages. Your world stops. You call a few law firms. The retainers they quote are staggering, more money than you have in the bank. Desperate, you turn to one of these new AI lawyer apps. Feels like a lifeline. For a small monthly fee, it analyzes the complaint, helps you draft a formal answer, and even pulls up cases that seem to support your position. You feel a surge of empowerment. You think, I can do this. I'm smart. The law is just a set of rules, and this AI has all the rules. You're David, and this app is your slingshot against Goliath. For the first few months, it seems to work. You file your documents. You respond to their requests. You're holding your own, and you've saved tens of thousands of dollars. But then comes the deposition. This is the first time you'll come face-to-face with their lawyer. A real one. Let's call her Ms. Evelyn Reed. She's a partner at a top-tier firm, with 25 years of experience gutting witnesses on the stand. Your AI prepares you. It generates a list of hundreds of potential questions. It advises you to be truthful and keep your answers concise. You study. You feel ready. You walk into the conference room. Ms. Reed smiles. It's a warm, disarming smile. She offers you coffee. She asks about your business, seems genuinely impressed with what you've built. She's not the monster you expected. She's just a person. The deposition begins. The first few questions are easy, straight from the script your AI predicted. What is the name of your company? When was it founded? You're feeling confident. But then the questions start to shift. Ms. Reed leans forward, her warm smile never fading. She asks, you said you sketched the logo on a napkin. What was the name of the restaurant? You pause. You don't remember. I'm not sure. Was anyone with you? My co-founder probably. And what did you talk about that night? Did you discuss other logo ideas? Your AI didn't prepare you for this. These aren't legal questions. They're memory questions designed to test the edges of your story. She's not attacking your case, she's mapping your mind. She sees you hesitate. She notes your uncertainty. The AI told you what to say. It never told you how you would feel. It couldn't account for the knot in your stomach, the sweat on your brow, the way your voice cracks when you're nervous. Ms. Reed sees all of it. She then pivots. Your website says you offer unparalleled innovation. That's a strong claim. What specifically makes you unparalleled? You start to list features. But she interrupts gently. No, I mean compared to my client's product. Can you list, point by point, how your software is fundamentally different from their patented System 7B? The AI gave you a general summary of their patent. It didn't give you a conversational, persuasive argument to rattle off under pressure. You stumble. You use vague terms. You sound defensive. For 6 hours this continues. Ms. Reed isn't just a lawyer. She's a psychologist, a strategist, and a world-class interrogator. She uses silence as a weapon, letting you ramble to fill the void. She rephrases the same question 5 different ways until your answers start to contradict each other. She senses your fatigue and pushes harder. Your AI app is sitting on your phone useless. It can't read the room. It can't see the subtle trap Ms. Reed is laying with every seemingly innocent question. It can't tell you, stop, think, ask for a break. By the end, you're exhausted and demoralized. You walk out, knowing you've made mistakes but you're not even sure what they were. 2 weeks later, Ms. Reed files a motion for summary judgment. It's a legal maneuver to have the case dismissed in her client's favor before it even goes to trial. The motion is a masterpiece. It's filled with quotes from your deposition. Your own words twisted and framed to make you look evasive, uncertain, and like you have no real defense. She uses your stumbles, your I don't recalls, your vague descriptions as proof that your case is weak. You turn to your AI. You feed it the motion. The AI dutifully generates a response. It's technically correct. It cites the right statutes. It follows the proper format. It is a solid C+ legal document. But Ms. Reed's motion wasn't just a document. It was an argument. It was a story. It was crafted specifically for the judge presiding over your case. A judge she knows is impatient with frivolous lawsuits. Her motion speaks his language. Your AI-generated response is generic. It's a template. It has no soul. It can't anticipate the judge's biases. It doesn't know that this particular judge values clear, concise storytelling over dense legal citations. It doesn't know that Ms. Reed had a coffee with the judge's clerk last week at a bar association event, not to discuss the case, but to maintain a relationship, to be a known and respected quantity in that courthouse. This is the invisible battlefield of law that no app can see. It's a world of human relationships, reputations, and psychological chess. You file your response. You wait. The judge rules without even holding a hearing. Motion granted. Case dismissed. You lose. You're ordered to pay the other side's legal fees, a sum that will crush your business. Your AI slingshot was a toy. Goliath didn't even flinch. This story, or versions of it, is the terrifying reality of the mismatch. A human lawyer isn't just a repository of legal knowledge. That's the easy part. A great lawyer is a master of human nature. Think about negotiation. An AI can analyze data from thousands of similar cases and suggest a settlement figure. Offer them $50,000. Data suggests a 78% probability of acceptance. That seems logical. But a human lawyer sits across the table from the opposing counsel. She hears the frustration in his voice. She sees that he's under pressure from his client to settle quickly. She knows his firm is overextended. She senses weakness. So instead of offering $50,000, she offers $30,000, but with a non-monetary concession that she knows the other party desperately wants. She crafts a creative solution that saves her client money and solves the problem. The AI sees numbers. The human sees leverage. Or what about a jury trial? How on earth could an AI app guide you through jury selection? A skilled trial lawyer is watching everything. The way a potential juror's arms are crossed. The bumper sticker on their car they saw in the parking lot. The way they roll their eyes when the topic of corporate responsibility comes up. They're using intuition, experience, and a deep understanding of human bias to pick a jury that is most likely to be sympathetic to their client's story. An AI can't do that. It can't feel the vibe of a room. And the ultimate test, cross-examination. A witness is on the stand, telling a well-rehearsed lie. Your AI has generated a list of questions for you to ask. You go down the list. The witness has an answer for everything. But a human lawyer sees a flicker of doubt in the witness's eye, a slight hesitation before an answer. They abandon the script. They ask a question nobody expected. You said you were at home on the night of the 15th. What was the weather like? The witness hesitates. It was clear, I think. The lawyer pounces. That's interesting, because the National Weather Service reports a severe thunderstorm that night. The kind of storm people remember. In that moment, the witness's credibility shatters. That's not a move you find in a database. That's a moment of pure, adaptive human intelligence. It comes from being present, from listening, from reacting in real time. The danger of these AI apps isn't just that they might give you bad information. It's that they give you just enough information to make you feel competent. They create a devastating illusion of parity. You think you're in a fair fight, but you've been strategically disarmed before you even entered the arena. You're playing checkers while your opponent, a grandmaster, is playing three-dimensional chess across time. The app gives you the rules of the game, but it cannot teach you how to play. It provides the sheet music, but it cannot give you the soul of the musician needed to move an audience. Law at its highest levels is not a science. It's an art. It's performance. It's persuasion. And when you face a true artist of the law armed with nothing but an algorithm, the outcome is almost never in doubt. And this brings us to the single most terrifying question in the entire AI legal revolution, a question that companies behind these apps hope you never ever ask. When the AI is wrong, who is responsible? When an AI-generated contract has a fatal flaw that costs you your business, who do you sue? When an AI's advice on a custody battle leads to a disastrous outcome, who is held accountable? Because with a human lawyer, the answer is crystal clear. Her name is on the door. She has a license from the state bar. She carries malpractice insurance for the specific purpose of making you whole if she makes a catastrophic error. She has a reputation, a career, and a legal and ethical duty to you, her client. Her advice is backed by a system of accountability built over centuries. Now let's look at the AI. Who do you serve with a lawsuit? The 19-year-old coder in Estonia who wrote one of the subroutines? The massive faceless corporation that owns the app, a corporation that has an army of the best human lawyers in the world? Or do you try to sue the algorithm itself? Good luck with that. This isn't just a hypothetical problem. It's the central flaw in the entire model. Go and read the terms of service for any of these applications. I have. Buried deep in paragraph 27, subsection C, you will find the kill switch. A sentence that almost always says something to the effect of, "This service does not provide legal advice and is for informational purposes only. We are not a law firm and assume no liability for the accuracy or applicability of the information provided." It's the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. They sell you a product marketed as a solution to your legal problems, and then in the fine print they whisper that it's not actually for your legal problems, and if it all goes wrong, it's on you. You are the beta tester. You are the one assuming 100% of the risk. They get your monthly subscription fee, and you get a roll of the dice with your life, your business, your family. There is no malpractice insurance for an app. There is no state bar for algorithms. There is only a void, a black hole of accountability where your rights and your future can simply disappear. And it gets even darker. We have to talk about the black box problem. With many sophisticated AI models, even the engineers who built them don't fully understand how they arrive at a specific conclusion. The AI processes billions of data points and finds correlations humans can't see. But its reasoning is often opaque, hidden inside a complex neural network. In the legal world, the why is just as important as the what. A judge doesn't just want to know the answer. They want to know the legal reasoning, the precedent, the logic that led to that answer. If your AI tool tells you to take a certain legal position, and you can't explain the fundamental legal theory behind it, you will be torn to shreds in a deposition or on the witness stand. Why did you refuse to sign the document? My app told me to. It's not just embarrassing. It's legally indefensible. You are relying on a ghost in the machine, a ghost that cannot be cross-examined, a ghost that has no legal standing, a ghost whose logic is a complete mystery. This opacity also hides a more sinister problem: bias. AI is not objective. It is a mirror reflecting the data it was trained on. And what data was it trained on? Decades, even centuries of legal documents and case outcomes. A history that is riddled with systemic biases, racial, gender, and economic. An AI trained on this data might learn, for example, that certain demographics receive harsher sentences for the same crime. It won't see this as a historical injustice to be corrected. It will see it as a pattern to be replicated. The AI might advise a legal strategy that seems optimal based on the data, but is in fact perpetuating a historical bias. It could suggest a lower settlement offer for a woman in a personal injury case than a man, simply because the historical data shows that's what has happened in the past. The AI isn't being malicious. It has no concept of justice or fairness. It is simply a pattern matching machine, and if the pattern is biased, the output will be biased. It can launder prejudice through the clean, sterile language of technology, making injustice look like data-driven logic. And because of the black box problem, you would never even know it was happening. You would just accept the optimized advice, never realizing you were being guided by the ghosts of a less equal past. So, what about the most common argument in favor of these tools? That they're perfect for simple things. Just reviewing a basic lease agreement. Just drafting a standard non-disclosure agreement. Just handling a small claims court filing. Seems so logical. Why pay a lawyer $2,000 for something an app can do for $20? This is the most dangerous illusion of all. Because there is almost no such thing as a simple legal matter. That simple lease agreement for your new apartment? It might have a clause in it that waives your right to sue the landlord for negligence, or an illegal provision about withholding your security deposit. An AI trained to look for standard language might miss the subtle but crucial deviation from state law. A human lawyer, especially one specializing in landlord-tenant law in your specific city, would spot it in 10 seconds. That standard NDA you downloaded for your startup? It might not properly define confidential information, leaving a loophole big enough for a competitor to drive a truck through, taking your entire business idea with them. An AI sees a document. A human lawyer sees the context. They see your goals, your vulnerabilities, the other party's potential motivations. They don't just read the words, they read the situation. They ask questions the AI would never think to ask. What happens if your business partner dies? Is that covered? What are the tax implications of structuring the deal this way? Have you considered what this clause means for your ability to get future funding? This is the connective tissue of legal practice. The wisdom and foresight that turns a document from a collection of words into a shield that protects your future. The AI gives you a fish. The lawyer teaches you how to fish, while also pointing out the sharks in the water you didn't even know were there. The belief that your problem is simple is often the first and most expensive mistake a person can make. By the time you realize the hidden complexities, by the time that simple contract has exploded into a multi-year lawsuit, the $20 you saved on the AI app will feel like the worst investment you have ever made in your life. So where does that leave us? We've seen the incredible promise. Legal access for millions, instant answers, and costs so low they seem almost impossible. But we've also stared into the abyss of its failures. The soulless, context-blind mistakes, the lack of accountability, and the terrifying potential for a simple problem to metastasize into a legal nightmare. The central question of this entire journey remains: can AI lawyer apps really help you? The answer, after all of this, is a resounding and perhaps unsatisfying "it depends." It depends entirely on how you define the word help. If by help you mean replacing a lawyer, the answer is an unequivocal and dangerous no. Thinking of these apps as a one-to-one substitute for a trained, licensed, and insured human professional is like thinking a first aid kit can replace a surgeon. It's a category error of the highest order, one with potentially life-altering consequences. But if we change the question, if we reframe the role of this incredible technology, the picture changes entirely. What if we stop thinking of AI as an artificial lawyer, and start thinking of it as the most powerful legal tool ever invented? This is where the future isn't just bright, it's revolutionary. The most forward-thinking legal minds aren't fighting against AI. They're figuring out how to harness it. Imagine your lawyer armed with an AI assistant. While she focuses on the human elements, understanding your fears, crafting a unique strategy, negotiating with opposing counsel, and arguing in a courtroom, her AI is working in the background. It's sifting through 10,000 pages of discovery documents in minutes, flagging inconsistencies. It's analyzing decades of case law to find the most obscure but relevant precedent to support your case, a task that would take a team of junior associates weeks and cost you a fortune. It's drafting boilerplate sections of contracts and motions with perfect accuracy, freeing up the human lawyer to focus on the custom, high-stakes clauses that actually matter. In this model, the AI isn't the lawyer. It's the paralegal on steroids. It's the research assistant with a photographic memory of every law ever written. It's a force multiplier that allows a human lawyer to be more efficient, more accurate, and crucially more affordable for you, the client. The cost savings don't come from firing the lawyer. They come from making the lawyer exponentially more effective. Your legal bill is no longer padded with hours of tedious research and drafting. You are paying for pure strategy, expertise, and human judgment. This isn't a future where lawyers are obsolete. It's a future where lawyers are augmented, where their cognitive power is amplified, and legal services become accessible to more people not by cutting corners, but by streamlining the process. And this new paradigm empowers you, the client, as well. Before you even walk into a lawyer's office, you can use AI as an educational tool. You can ask it to explain complex legal concepts in simple terms. You can have it summarize the relevant statutes for your situation. You can use it to get a basic, high-level understanding of the landscape you're facing. You walk into that first consultation not as a passive victim of circumstance, but as an informed participant. You can ask smarter questions. You can understand the advice you're given on a deeper level. You can collaborate with your lawyer more effectively. Using AI to educate yourself before seeking professional advice is like reading up on your symptoms before seeing a doctor. It doesn't make you the doctor, but it makes you a much better patient. So the real skill in this new world isn't knowing whether to use AI or a human. It's knowing when to use each. We need a clear framework, a set of traffic lights to guide our decisions. Let's call them the green, yellow, and red zones of legal AI. The green zone is for tasks that are low stakes and informational. This is where AI excels. Use it for basic legal research. Ask it, what are the legal requirements for a small business in Texas? Or explain the concept of fair use in copyright law. Use it to generate a first draft of a very simple, non-binding agreement where the stakes are almost zero, like a roommate agreement or a contract for selling your old couch to a friend. You can use it to summarize a long document, like a company's terms of service, just for your own understanding. In the green zone, the AI is your personal tutor and encyclopedia. The risk is minimal. Then we have the yellow zone. This is where you must proceed with extreme caution. This includes using AI to generate a template for something like a basic residential lease or an independent contractor agreement. While it might get you 90% of the way there, that last 10% is where all the risk lives. Are you sure that template is compliant with your specific state and city laws, which can be wildly different? Do you understand the long-term implications of every clause you're agreeing to? Using AI for these tasks is a calculated risk. If you are extremely careful and the stakes are relatively low, it might be acceptable. But you are acting as your own lawyer, and you must be willing to accept 100% of the liability if the AI's output is flawed. This zone is for the brave and the meticulous, and even then, it's a gamble. Finally, we have the red zone. These are the situations where using an AI lawyer app instead of a human is not just a bad idea. It is an act of profound self-sabotage. If your issue involves going to court in any capacity, stop. Do not pass go. Hire a lawyer. The rules of procedure, evidence, and courtroom conduct are a labyrinth that an AI cannot navigate. If you're dealing with family law, divorce, child custody, adoption, the emotional and financial complexities are so deeply human that relying on an algorithm is unthinkable. For estate planning, creating a will or a trust, a single misplaced word or a failure to follow precise execution formalities can invalidate the entire document, tearing your family apart and dishonoring your legacy. Any significant financial transaction, like buying or selling a house or a business, is firmly in the red zone. And it goes without saying, if you are being sued or are considering suing someone else, or have been charged with a crime, you are not in a DIY situation. You are in a hire the best human professional you can possibly find situation. The temptation of these apps is the siren song of a quick, cheap, and easy fix to problems that are rarely quick, cheap, or easy. The law is not code. It is a living, breathing system built on logic, but also on precedent, interpretation, and the nuanced understanding of human intent. It is a system designed to resolve the messiness of human conflict, and that is a task that, for now, requires a human touch. The future of law is not a sterile server farm spitting out perfect legal answers. It's a hybrid. It's a partnership. The AI will handle the data, the research, the repetition, the science of law. The human lawyer will handle the wisdom, the strategy, the empathy, the persuasion, the art of law. Technology is not the destination. It's the vehicle. And the person driving it still needs to know the rules of the road, the feel of the terrain, and the ultimate destination. So, can AI lawyer apps help you? Yes, they can help you become a more educated client. They can help you with simple, low-stakes tasks. And in the hands of a skilled attorney, they can help make your legal representation more powerful and efficient than ever before. But they cannot be your lawyer. The most important legal decision you will ever make is not what clause to put in a contract, but who you trust to guide you. In this new and complex world, don't look for the cheapest option or the fastest algorithm. Look for the smartest solution. And right now, the smartest solution is a human mind, augmented and amplified by the most powerful tools ever created. That is how you navigate the future of law and win.